Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Messina from Team Cortland again.
Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Viola from Team Geneseo.
Hi, everybody. It's Mrs. Cabrera from Team Stony Brook.
Hi, it's Mrs. Levin from Team Purchase.
Hi, everyone. It's Miss Hidalgo from Team Geneseo.
So today we're going to be reviewing chemistry. I hope you've enjoyed learning about chemistry, and we're going to take an assessment after this to see what you've learned. But we're going to review and go through all the different lessons that we've learned.
All right, so first up, we started talking about solids, liquids, and gases. And what you're going to see here play is just molecules from three different substances, but all at room temperature. So remember that in a solid, molecules are strongly attracted to one another. They vibrate, but they don't tend to move past one another, and they generally stay in fixed positions because they are very strongly attracted to each other. Solids have a definite volume and a definite shape. Liquids, the molecules are still attracted to one another, but they're able to vibrate and move past one another. A liquid will have a definite volume, but will not have a definite shape. And here you can see how they're moving just a little bit faster than the solid molecules. And then finally, in a gas, the molecules are not attracted to each other much at all. The molecules in a gas vibrate and also can move very freely past each other and much more rapidly. A gas does not have a definite shape or volume, and gas molecules will typically spread to fill whichever container they're placed in.
Then we moved on to talk about density. Density is a characteristic property of a substance. That means each substance has a specific density, and you can use density to figure out what substance it is. It can be calculated if you know the mass and the volume of the substance. So in order to find the volume of the substance, we do length times width times height, or we can find the volume by displacement by putting it in water. So remember, density is mass divided by volume, and we measure that in grams per cubic centimeter or by milliliters. Objects with the same volume but different mass have different densities. So if you look at this metal, you can see all the particles, the atoms of that metal are all tightly packed together. It's going to have quite a big density. Then if you look at plastic, if you look at up close at the molecules of the plastic, they're all twisted long chains and they're spread apart more. So it's not going to have as much density. And then if you look at wood, you can see there's space between the molecules of the wood, and it is also going to have less density. Remember, things that have density less than water will float in water, and things that have a density higher than 1, water density is 1, will sink. So remember, we looked at a density column, and you may have made a density column. In this case, we have lots of different substances, and they are going to be layered by density. You can see that things of less density will float on top of things with more density. So this person is making a density column and just layering the different things. The reason that one floats above the other is because the density is less. It is less dense, which means the particles are spread further apart. Now, when they drop in that cherry tomato, it'll drop right down and it'll float above the things that have less density and sink in the things that have, if it has a higher density.
So then we moved on to physical reactions. And just keep in mind that a physical change is a change where the substance does not change at all. It just may change in, let's say, its shape or its size or the phase. So for a shape or a size change, think about a piece of paper that's flat, and then when you crumple it all up, that's changing the size and the shape. It's still paper. A phase change would be if you take water and you put it in the freezer and it becomes an ice cube. It's still water, it's just a different phase, it's ice. Some physical changes might be caused by grinding up something, cutting something, crushing it, bending it, breaking it, or even heating and cooling it.
Miss Cabrera, I really loved the pictures of the M&Ms. That was
Yum.
yeah. Okay, boys and girls, so we also learned about chemical reactions. A chemical change is a change in which a substance is changed into a completely different substance. Some examples of chemical changes could be when you burn something, when something is rusting, tarnishing, or decomposing. Chemical changes occur when a chemical reaction causes bonds between the atoms to break or to form. Evidence that a chemical change has occurred might include a change in color, an odor, or odor of physical properties, or the formation of a precipitate. During a chemical change, energy can be released in the form of heat or light.
Boys and girls, we learned a lot about atoms, and you also made atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit that still have all the properties of a material. Atoms make up everything. You, me, the table, the desk, everything you can see is made up of atoms, and even things that you can't see, such as the air. Atoms are organized in the periodic table of elements, where they are arranged according to their properties. Materials that are just one type of atom is called an element. And the structure of the atoms are very important. That's what you made when you designed your atoms. Inside the center, you put the protons and the neutrons, the green and red there to the right. Those are the protons and neutrons. Protons have a positive charge. Neutrons have a neutral or no charge, you could say. Electrons orbit the nucleus of an atom. So the number of protons equals the number of electrons in a neutral atom. And as you can see, we're looking at the carbon atom, which has 6 protons, so it also has 6 electrons. Now, electrons orbit in shells. So the closest shell to the nucleus can only hold 2 electrons, and then the next shell can hold up to 8. But since this carbon atom only has 6, you can only put 4 in that next shell. And those electrons are much, much, much smaller than the protons and the neutrons in the nucleus.
And then finally, the last topic that we went over was molecules. So atoms can be combined in many different ways to form different molecules, and different molecules can make up different materials that we have. So what you're seeing here in this animation is exactly the reaction between 2 different molecules, methane and oxygen, and how they are now, because of that reaction, the atoms are separating and going to recombine or rebond to form new molecules.
Okay, so boys and girls, make sure you study the PowerPoint. Review it many times so that you are able to do well on the quiz.
Hello everyone, Ms. Hidalgo here. So just wanted to go over some really nice features that are available to you when you're taking an assessment, a test, or a quiz when you're using Office Forms, all right? So one of the really nice features about when you're using Office Forms is you do have this option to have the question read to you. So if you click on this symbol that pops up next to the question, it will take you to this screen, which is where you can see the question. You click on the play button and it will start reading the question to you.
What is distance?
And then it'll keep on going and read through the different answer choices that you have associated with that question. You can even, if the person's talking too fast, you can slow them down a little bit or you can speed them up. All right, and you can change the voice so you have a different voice sounding for you. If you need to, you can also click on this button where it says Reading Preferences, and you can actually translate the question completely. All right, and then when you go ahead and have the question read aloud, it'll read it aloud in that language that you've selected.
Uno, ¿qué es la distancia?
And then another also nice feature, right, if maybe this text is too small for you to read, you can go ahead and increase the size of the text, or you can decrease it down. All right, but after you've had the question read aloud to you, it'll tell you to go ahead and to close the reader so that way you can go ahead and go back and input your answer choice here. All right, and then you can continue on and do that for the following question, have the question read aloud to you, and then you come back to this screen to go ahead and input your answer.